Throughout history, many names, faces, and places come to sight. I will be talking about one of those people today. Who was this one-of-a-kind person? Where do they fit in history? What is their backstory? If you want answers to these questions, stay tuned to find more about this unique, proud patriot called Pitcher. The American War for Independence began in 1775 and ended in 1783. In 1775, the War for Citizens' Rights began between the 13 North American colonies and King George III, who was King of England. Graciously, King George III made a promise to the American colonists that they could own their own lands and help make their laws. Because England had fought 4 expensive wars with France, she had become very poor. And because of this, King George III broke his promise and made a law, a tax. This tax came in little stamps. The stamps were placed on some objects or goods that the people bought. Some of the main things the tax was placed on were tea, newspapers, glass, and other stuff. Because of the taxing, the colonists were mad, and in December of 1773, some colonists dressed up as Indians dumped tea off of British ships into the Boston harbor. This act was named the Boston Tea Party and was a part of a series of events that led into the American War for Independence. It is in this war, more specifically one of its battles, that we meet a woman, our patriot, my hero. Mary Hayes, who is also known as Molly Pitcher, was a one-of-a-kind woman. Molly was born approximately around October 13, 1745, in New Jersey. She married William Hayes, who was also known as John, on July 24, 1769. So she was 23 when she got married. John was a barber, that is, until he got called to be a gunner in General Washington's army. Movingly, Molly mentioned that she would go with her husband to Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, for that was where he was to be stationed. The main battle Molly fought in was named the Battle of Monmouth. Sunday, June 28, 1778, was definitely the hottest day of the year. Because of the extreme heat, soldiers were ripping off coats, shirts, socks, shoes, and other clothing. So Molly took it upon herself to bring water to the soldiers, who were desperately thirsty. She decided to douse water over the heated cannons as well. On the way back to the soldiers, she suddenly stumbled over an American soldier who was still alive and tended to his wounds, helping to save his life. Unexpectedly, a loud boom came. Molly rolled around and saw that her husband was on the ground, wounded. Molly raced to his side with tears in her eyes. The urge came from her patriotic spirit. Keep firing. Still crying, Molly stands up and fires her husband's cannon for him. Molly manned his post for nearly the rest of that tragic battle. While Molly was firing, General Washington saw her loading and firing the cannon. After the battle, George Washington came up to Molly and asked her, "Will you be a sergeant in my army?" Molly replied, "Yes." So Molly stood there as the sergeant of the Continental Army. She stood there as one proud patriot called Pitcher. Thank you all for listening to my paper called The Proud Patriot Called Pitcher. I used both historical information and imagination to use for my story. Here are some of the books I used. For some of my resources, I read that Molly had red hair, blue eyes, and German ancestors. I thought that was interesting because I have all that too. I would like to thank some specific people for helping me with my paper. My mom and dad. Thank you so much for helping me get it done even when I didn't really want to. Miss Joella, thank you for letting me borrow one of your books on Molly. Morgan and Maisie, thank you for helping represent the wounded soldiers. My cousin Gabe, thanks so much for helping take pictures and video this with your GoPro. To Chase and Autumn Dodsworth. Chase, thank you for helping edit and add fun stuff to this video. Autumn, thank you for your help doing my keyword outline, and you were a lot of help, and you're a great babysitter too. Thank you. imagination for my story. I need my books. Oh, okay, cut.
Sorry, start over.